Well, good morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. ESPN Bakersfield on this 22nd day of September. I'm sure everybody overheard that dumb song yesterday, and I apologize for that. I am a proprietor of that. I do love me some Earth, Wind, and Fire, but it is what it is. We got plenty to talk about in the world of sports, especially the world of football. I'm Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good morning.
Good morning.
Let them know what else they're in for. Oh, yeah, I apologize. I forgot. Sparky's dealing with some sore throat issues today.
Yeah, I promised myself I wouldn't play Bad Fish from Sublime, but we will get into our notes and our thoughts on over the weekend football, college, NFL, the injury bug. But we got a jam-packed show. We'll have our boy Tyson, and I will throw it out right now because I know my boy Dan is listening. Yes, I apologize for picking against the Chargers. Maybe they are the real deal, but hey, good job. 3-0.
Yeah, that's part of my rundown of the week for the NFL, at least. The Chargers look solid. They beat what I thought was a better defense in Denver. We'll get to that game in a second. I mean, there were plenty of NFL talking points to talk about. Let's jump right into that. Oh, and then by the way,
We got Tyson Hayes coming in Monday or the Monday open mic over at Firehouse. He'll be in at 8:00 and then at 8:30.
Luke Robitaille, the president of the LA Kings, will be joining us. If you're a hockey fan, preseason has begun, and we have preseason hockey coming right here to Bakersfield this Saturday. Kings and Ducks. It's going to be a fantastic preseason game, and Mr. Robitaille will be here to talk all about it. Plus, I have a self-indulgent question for him. And if you ever go to the beach city of Carpentaria, you know exactly where I'm going with this, or at least if you're smart about it, you know exactly where I'm going with this. So we'll talk to him about that and much, much more, because I mean, it's hockey season. It's about to be hockey season, at least. That means Condors are right around the corner as well.
And before we get into football, I just have to say, this Mariners hat is looking real good this morning.
Absolutely.
I'll just say it.
I'm just saying, down with the blue. Anything to take down the cheaters. Anything to take down the cheaters, I am 1,000% for it.
And going into the weekend, tied up with the Astros, and the Mariners got 3 games win right there. So I'll take it.
And at this point, I mean, Dodger fans, you're at least looking pretty good, taking up or beating down on the Giants over the weekend as well. There's plenty more baseball to go here in the final week, though, including a matchup between the Seattle Mariners and the Dodgers, which, again, as I predicted earlier in the year, could be pretty pivotal for both of their playoff runs.
Bring it on.
We'll see how that goes. But let's jump into the NFL and what we saw yesterday before we hit the NCAA, because I'm just going to get it out of the way. I'm going to get it done. I have no idea what the hell I watched on Sunday, okay? Don't text me. Don't say, what the hell was that? I thought you said Penn. I get it, okay? I know. This was the first time I've ever sat there and said, what the hell are you doing, Michael? There were multiple instances in this game where I was like, this kid is not here today. I don't know who this kid is. Does he have a twin brother that he lost a bet to? I don't know. But this isn't Michael Penix. This was not Michael Penix. This is not the Michael Penix we have seen in the beginning of his career. All of the poise and grace that I've talked about him playing with was not there. And I don't know if it's just the city of Carolina that got under his skin. I don't know. But this kid looked like he was scared in his boots all game long. And Atlanta loses 30-0 because of it. And we see Kirk Cousins reach the field again because of it. And everybody in the media now is wondering the same question. Is Kirk now the starter? No. Raheem Morris quickly snuffed that out in the post-game presser, and he was not happy. Rightfully so, because that was an awful game from Atlanta. And when you really look at the stats too, which is what really bothers me, you would think losing 30-0 would mean that Bryce Young and Chuba Hubbard and all these guys just ran roughshod over Atlanta. No. The offense maybe scored twice, and the rest of it was done by the defense and special teams. And at this point, I really don't know what to do. If you're Atlanta, there's so many issues that I cannot wrap my head around. I mean, how do I put this? Sparky's team in week 1 may have lost 30-0 to the Colts, but at least the Colts now look like probably the best team in the AFC South, and we'll get to that in a second as well, and are 3-0. This was a Carolina Panthers team that arguably won't even be sniffing a wild card spot, and you lose 30-0. Oh, and by the way, fire the kicker again, too. We dropped Young Hoku for Romo. Granted, Romo hit 5 for 5 against the Minnesota Vikings, but he hooks 2 easy field goals in the first half. Fire him. He's done. I'm sorry. There is no way we keep that kicker. I'm sorry. I had to get my grievances out of the way. Did you get to catch any of this, or at least the highlights?
I did, and I was going to
ugly.
say thank you, because in my what is it called? Not the dynasty. We're the one and done picks.
Mhm.
I had Atlanta before kickoff, and you recently told me, I think it was Friday's show, said stay away from that game.
Mhm.
It's a trap game, and I took your advice and I took him out, but
No.
sadly I
Now,
put in Green Bay.
don't get me. Oh,
So I still lost one of my 2 spots. So
that was
luckily,
the shocker of the weekend. To
I
me,
still
too,
have
but
1 spot. But yeah, what the hell?
we will get to that in a second. But I have not seen Atlanta look that bad in a football game in quite some time. I hope the benching of Michael Penix works, because you need to shake this kid up and say, get back to your usual self. I better see 4 touchdowns out of you next game. But at this point, you just wash it away. Like I told my friend yesterday, I'm just going to pretend that was a bye week. We're done. It's over. And then next time they play Carolina, we better win 40-0. Because if you don't, I'm going to have some words. But let's move on from that game, because no one cares about Atlanta or Carolina, even though Carolina won, only pulling up 224 yards. 200 yards, and they beat you 30-0. Make it make sense. Anyways, let's move on to a different game, though. A little bit of a higher point here for the Steelers, at least. Aaron Rodgers pulls in front of Brett Favre in total touchdowns on his career with 509, beating the New England Patriots 21-14. Although, for those of you who are out there that didn't watch this game, Pittsburgh didn't score for like 30, 40 minutes.
40 minutes of no points.
That isn't a good sign.
And
You may
Pittsburgh
have
does not
won
look
this
good.
game, and you got defense is what kept you in it. 5 turnovers by the Pittsburgh defense, really rough shot over Drake May and the running backs specifically. I mean, there were 2 major fumbles by Stevenson, especially one, I believe, either to end the first half or was in the third quarter. I can't remember. No, I'm sorry. It was the third quarter, because the interception by Drake May is what ended the half. Both of those could have easily given New England the win in this game. So realistically speaking, if you're looking at this from Mike Tomlin's perspective, Arthur Smith's perspective, you at least did enough to get the win. But I would not exactly ride off on your horse expecting that to be something that impressed people. Nobody is seeing this as a very impressive win by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I can honestly say I'm one of those people, only because 40 minutes straight of no scoring in the NFL, especially with a guy like Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, I don't care how old Aaron is. That's concerning. But that's also Arthur Smith football. If you've ever seen Arthur Smith actually as a head coach or an offensive coordinator, he usually runs you out. He's not a guy that usually runs up the score. So maybe this is just something we should get used to in Pittsburgh. But I would say that you can't exactly expect your defense to come out and have 5 turnovers every single game to save you the game.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, I will say, in my opinion, I just don't see it with Pittsburgh's offense. And it's the same thing with Kansas City. You know, they're pulling out a win, but it's an ugly win, and against a team that you should have put 30, 40 points on.
Yeah, you should have put them in the dirt easily. Now, the other question I want to pose to you as well, being a Dolphins fan that you are, and I know you've said this in the past, but are you starting to fade off of this New England Patriots kind of dark horse team mentality? Personally, I don't think they're that bad. Now, granted, 5 turnovers isn't anything to be happy about, but if you look at the first 3 games that they've played, each and every one of them is a 1-possession game that they could have won. One of them they won already against your Dolphins. And honestly, I think if Vrabel and McDaniels can clean this stuff up, especially the mental mistakes and the turnovers that happened at the worst possible times, New England can turn this season around. It's only 3 weeks in.
I mean, dark horse, I would probably say they're still a 500 team. I think the good thing for them is they have an easy schedule
Yes.
and they have plenty of time to clean some stuff up, and they're making games closer than they probably would have last year. So, I mean, I'll probably still roll that they're probably a 500 team, maybe a game over. But depending on, Drake May, I'm not sold. That's the only thing I'm not sold on is Drake May. I just don't see it. I just
Really?
I just don't think he's the future in New England.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I think that during his rookie season, we saw more flashes of what could be some high potential. And this year, at least in the first 3 games, we've seen some solid play, but nothing to really show that he's going to be over the top amazing like some of these people say that he would be. I think he's a pretty good solid starting quarterback. I wouldn't say he's ever going to be an elite quarterback in the league, but he's definitely someone you can rely on. I just feel like these small mistakes are just those types of mistakes, the penalties, the turnovers. Obviously, you want to clean that up. And when you do clean that up with a young team, traditionally they're able to turn it around and actually start winning football games. And New England, like you just said, has a very easy schedule. So this whole dark horse mentality, I think a lot of Patriot fans are starting to feel like, oh Lord, here we go. We're going back to being at the bottom of the barrel again. I wouldn't freak out too much. I really wouldn't. Holding the Pittsburgh Steelers to 40 straight minutes of not scoring. And to be honest with you, the last 3 games coming down to one possession and you staying in those games, I think that you're actually in a good spot to really start making those leaps forward to becoming at least a playoff team. So I wouldn't necessarily just throw away your hopes and dreams right now if you're a New England Patriots fan. I think there's a little bit left to hold on to, but at this point right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers game, unfortunately, you end up losing this situation because of the 5 turnovers. So at this point, Vrabel and McDaniel have to figure out how to clean that up
And
first.
like you said, those penalties are killing them too.
Yes.
If it wasn't for the turnovers, those penalties in key moments were killing them.
Absolutely. And again, the small mental mistakes that usually get wiped away when it comes to when experience is brought in, reps are brought in, and just being able to figure it out on offense and get into a rhythm. I think McDaniels could figure that out here in the next week or so, I would hope. But if they can, I mean, if they can come out here in week 4 and pull off a W and go 2-2, I think they're right back in it to be at least a contender for one of those wild card spots.
I could see it.
So let's
And
take.
then luckily next week, the Jets and the Dolphins, one of them have to get a win.
I mean, at this point, we saw it on Sunday night. So let's hope that the Dolphins can be the one to get that win because the Jets didn't look that great either. Although they took the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right to the end of it. And again, I'm going to harp on this until I die. Y'all really think Tampa Bay is a Super Bowl contender, huh? Huh. I don't know. We'll see. Let's take a break real quick, pay some bills. We got plenty more games to talk about, plus some NCAA games that were fantastic over the weekend as well. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. We also stream video live every single day from 7 to 9 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Just look for the Early Bird Special. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the bell in the corner. You can hear or watch us every single day. Where do we want to go next? Honestly, I you know what? No, I know exactly what game we gotta go next. Unfortunately, the Rams are just beside themselves right now, and rightfully so, because the Philadelphia Eagles continue to break their hearts every single chance they get.
That was a wild game.
Losing a game on back-to-back blocked field goals, including the second one going back for a touchdown, which was completely unnecessary. I loved it, though, because it gave me more fantasy points. So good on you, Jordan Davis.
Me too.
But completely unnecessary.
That's what Evan Cohen was saying this morning. He said he shouldn't have needed. He didn't need to do that.
He didn't even need to do that. He just
But
needed
I
to lay
loved
on the
it.
ground.
I loved it.
Big boy needs to get his touchdown, though. But the biggest thing to me, and it continues to come up in conversation, I see a lot of people talk about it now in game as well, the brotherly shove. Now, again, I've been very vocal about saying get good about beating it and allow the defense to do different things to beat it. I'm all for that. If that really means that your defense should be able to dive at the offense's legs and essentially do a chop block themselves, do what you got to do, big boy. However, there have been highlights of this one situation that I have to bounce off you, Sparky, and I wish we had video on the video side so I could show it to you guys. There is a legitimate gripe against this. Right guard, Tyler Sheen, multiple times in the last 3 weeks, I've watched each and every game. Offsides, false start penalty, and it never gets called. And it is blatant. And I mean blatant. And I get it. You got Lane Johnson right next to you, so you got the best right tackle in the game. So who knows? Maybe just having him there, or referees just say, we won't look at that side at all. But that needs to stop.
Yeah, it's been a gripe, and that was why the NFL came out before this week and said that they were going to keep an eye on it, and it's
that's
still
a lie.
Nothing.
That's clearly a lie.
I saw it. I've seen it last week too. It was worse.
Apparently, they told the referees to stop looking at PI too, because there were a lot of blatant PI calls at the end of this game, including one of Adams in the end zone, which led to the touchdown that gave them the lead, the Rams, and a Puka Nacua hold at late
He gets
in
away
this
with that a
game.
lot.
Well, they were holding him this time.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point I was making. They overlooked a lot of stuff with the Eagles. I know that the Kansas City Chiefs get a lot of love, apparently, from referees, as the internet loves to say. But it's starting to look like the Philadelphia Eagles are the team that really gets the love. And if I'm the NFL, I'm telling referees, you better call every single game or every single call in week 4. If I see a single missed call, especially a PI, ticky-tack, I don't care. You better call that. The Philadelphia Eagles are now 3-0, and a lot of people are angry because it seems to me, or it doesn't seem to me, I'm sorry, it seems to them that the NFL and the referees are having something to do with it. And the brotherly shove is already hard enough to defend. You can't allow them to jump off sides too, especially in short yardage situation. That needs to be a flag, back them up 5. And honestly, that's probably what's going to stunt the Eagles with this brotherly shove thing. Is once they actually have to go on the snap count, maybe defenses will be able to stop it more. Maybe you won't be as successful with it. We'll see. But I saw it multiple times in that game.
I still don't think they'll stop it, but that's just me. I saw I didn't watch as much of it this week, but I saw the still photos of it on NFL Network after last week's game, after Kansas City complained about it. And I was like, well, it's clear as day that they're offsides. But I mean, still, I will say that the NFL is going to have to do something about it. I just don't see it happening this year.
Do you think that the best way to go about this is to make the brotherly shove, or at least the QB sneak, whatever you want to call it, a not reviewable play, but a mandatory reviewable play? So especially in these short yardage situations, And that goes for penalties as well, not just necessarily where he landed or where he ended the drive,
Where they line up.
but where they line up, if it was done legally, all of that stuff. Do we need to actually have people from up top look at this play every single time it's ran?
I just don't see it happening.
I don't either. It's too much work. And that's why I'm saying that you're more than likely going to get it banned before anything. And actually, surprisingly enough, I heard Clay Matthews actually speaking out about it now, wanting it removed. That was the most recent player I've seen actually come out and say, yeah, maybe we should just get rid of it. And
It's so funny. There's no middle ground with this.
no,
You're either against it or you're with it. And I think I've thought after the NFL stepped in last week saying, oh, they're going to keep an eye on it more. And they didn't.
no.
So I just don't know if this is going to be just a season long hype until they finally do something about it. But, and even Goodell was talking yesterday, I think it was during the Dallas game, that he was saying that as of right now, they're not even looking into it after this season. That it's not even a question right now that they're.
No.
I was like, okay.
He could say that right now, but I can promise you that this is going to be one of those rule changes that are brought up by teams, much like what we saw this last offseason when it came to a lot of moves the playoff changes that Detroit wanted and all of these other major kickoff changes and stuff like that. A lot of that is team driven. So at this point, if you don't think there are teams that are going to be crying out saying we need to ban this play, oh, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy.
And they only needed 2 more votes?
Yes. And honestly, they're probably going to get those votes this year when new teams have to face this play and realize, oh, yeah, no, we don't want this in football at all. And again, yes, it's going to come down to they just run it better than everybody else and no one can stop it.
Exactly.
And Chris Jones came out very vocally the other day too, saying that play that he was complaining about they ran 7 times in a row was not the brotherly shove. I don't know about that one. But again, the frustrations, you see it every single week from defensive players, especially that there's really not a whole ton they can do to stop it. And when you allow guys to false start on the play, Tyler Sheen, right guard,
makes it harder.
Watch it every single time. I promise you, every time. Watch him. Now, the second time he didn't do it, but the first one, oh yeah, and that one was more pivotal. It was a 4th and 2. Would have backed him up to 4th and 7, made him force them to kick a field goal instead of probably getting a touchdown that drive. So I don't know. It's going to be reassessed. It always will be every single year. But when it came down to the final play of this game, it really didn't matter what the brotherly shove did. It mattered what the offensive line of the Rams did on those special teams plays, and they let you down twice in a row. That is heartbreaking. And I don't know which one is worse. I really don't know which one was worse, the loss yesterday or the 2024 divisional series. I really have no idea. But at this point, if you're a Rams fan, I would hang your hat on this. You've taken the Super Bowl champions to the limit twice in a row, in which you've really lost on the last snap of the play. That, to me, shows that you can beat them on any given Sunday. If you guys meet in the playoffs, if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, I would be worried.
Yeah.
That's just me. Let's take a break real quick, and we'll get to this Sunday night game that we had last night, the Chiefs and the Giants, as Russell Wilson potentially still hanging on to his job by a thread, but everybody is chanting for Jackson Dart, and we saw a little bit of him last night handing the ball off, but it is what it is. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 12:30 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. There's plenty more to talk about in the NFL. We're going to talk to our guy Tyson Hayes here at the 8 o'clock hour, talk about his Chargers and what they were able to pull off this weekend. I got to bounce a couple of questions off Sparky, including, are the Colts for real? And are they now the best team in the AFC South? We'll talk about it after the break. But first, we got to talk about that Sunday night game we saw last night, as we saw essentially the closest thing to the Hunger Games you're ever going to see. The NFL putting two lambs out to slaughter, saying one of you is going to start 0-3. Who is it going to be? The Chiefs and the Giants. Patrick Mahomes against Russell Wilson, and it ended pretty much the way we all thought it would. The Chiefs end up pulling it out in pretty convincing fashion in the second half. We're able to get the offense going finally. And honestly, the Giants defense is doing everything it can. This team, every time I look at it, between the defense, Scattaboo, the wide receivers, they have everything. All they need is the quarterback. They genuinely do. I don't know why Daniel Jones didn't work out from what we see in Indy. It's kind of weird to think that Daniel Jones is 3-0, Saquon Barkley is 3-0, and the Giants are 0-3. And at this point, everybody's crying for the same thing. Where's Jackson Dart? And it's kind of warranted.
You think he's next? He's ready?
I don't think he's ready, but I think at this point, it's the only way for Brian Dable to save his job. Because I know you know what you get with Russell. But Russell's deep ball is gone. You saw it last night. He's trying to chuck it deep to Malik Neighbors. And I know Malik is fast, but he ain't that fast. He ain't overrunning these routes. They're being underthrown multiple times. He only threw, I believe, 2 picks last night, but he should have thrown 4. There was one in the end zone that got tipped when Neighbors also got ran into by the defender, or by the safety, and got his clock cleaned. But regardless,
yeah, that was ugly.
It was one of those bang bang plays that you don't want to see, but at the same time, where was the ball? Because it wasn't thrown where you would hope it would be. It was thrown short. Russ isn't the same Russ. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The game in game 2 against the Cowboys, although looked flashy, I wouldn't exactly take that as prime Russ is back. No.
You're playing Dallas D that does not look good.
No, especially without their top 2 corners again.
So, Diggs down again. But yeah, I mean, that game was so ugly. I ended up changing it.
Did you really?
After the third quarter, I was like, all right, it looks like the Chiefs are going to do it. After hearing the Giants fans, we want Dart. And even the booing every time Russell came on the field, even they talked to Coach DeBall after the game. He said, I'd be booing too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just doesn't look like Russ is the one.
No,
not at all. I think you're right. The D ball is definitely gone. But second of all, it looks like it's just in his head now. And even the funniest part was Chris Jones had mentioned he never had a jersey swap with Russ. He always wanted a Russ jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked to him after the game. He said, I don't want that one. I don't want that one. I just don't want Russ's jersey right now.
Mm-mm.
But, I mean, Kansas City, if it wasn't for that defense coming up in big stops, I mean, they even look mediocre.
At times.
Yeah.
But
and it looks like Mahomes is just running for his life to make plays. And I don't know if it's the missing of Rashee Rice or just out of sync. I mean, it's only 3 games. I get it. And we've seen the Chiefs start off slow. But do you think the Chiefs aren't the Chiefs we're expecting?
No, I don't think this is the Chiefs team that everybody's expecting, because everybody's so used to seeing the Chiefs back when they were winning Super Bowls. And they said it last night during the broadcast. I can't remember if it was Collinsworth but it really doesn't matter. But they kept highlighting the frustrations that you see on the sidelines, especially between Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. And to be honest with you, both of them have very good reason to be frustrated with what's going on. Travis is not playing like Travis. So Andy obviously is going to get very frustrated with that, because you're the best receiver we got, kid. And Travis isn't getting the ball. And when he is getting the ball, it's not the same plays that he used to get. So obviously it's not really working. And when the ball is thrown to other guys like Juju and Hollywood Brown, it's not working out like it used to when you had Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman. So he's getting frustrated. They're not scoring as much. It's not as fun to play with this team. So clearly there's going to be frustrations and butting of heads, but I don't think it's necessarily that they're not meshing. It's because they're both so competitive, and much like us, everybody has such a high bar for this Chiefs team. When you don't reach that, it's frustrating. When you're allowing the Giants to stay with you, it's frustrating. Like we said, this game should never have been on Sunday Night Football, to be completely honest with you. When you look at it in the game, it shouldn't have been this game. It should have been a completely different one. We don't know which. I'm not
Well,
going to look back.
luckily we get a good Monday night game, hopefully,
Absolutely.
with the
But
Lions and Ravens. But going back to that Sunday night game, it was just ugly.
yeah, and I mean, 2-0-2 teams trying to avoid being 0-3. Obviously, that's what's going to happen. But if you're the Kansas City Chiefs and Fantasy Frank, you'll take it and run like a thief because it's your first win all year. And it's one that you desperately need right now to get back on track and get everybody meshed and ready to go. Because if you have Andy Reid and Travis Kelce biting each other's heads off on the sideline every single week, I don't think this is going to be a very good year for the Kansas City Chiefs, especially with the LA Chargers looking like the LA Chargers right now. And John Harbaugh has been able to create Michigan football in the NFL. That's essentially what it is. It's game management, clock management, run the football, tough nose defense. Chargers have figured it out. And you know what's great about it? They figured it out on the defensive side without their best player. That's the scariest part to me. But the Chiefs need to figure it out right now. The Giants need to make a move. Personally, this is the question I wanted to pose to you. Do you think we're going to see Jackson Dart get called to the starting spot before Brian Dable gets fired?
I think we get Dart now.
You think we get Dart next week?
I would expect it. Yeah. I know last week they had talked about it, and then Russ came out and looked good. But I think he's done. I think that if DeBall wants to keep his job, this is going to be the change of scenery where he needs to change the quarterback, get Jackson Dart a full week of practice with the reps, and throw him in there, because I think that's his last straw to keep that job. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I still want to get to the Browns win. But our first text of the day said, what coach do you think will be fired first? Is it the Titans, Jaguars, Giants, or even the Dolphins? And you could throw in Pete Carroll in the mix. I don't think Pete Carroll is in the mix.
Pete's not going anywhere.
I think it's just the Raiders. It's a whole new scheme, new coaches, new everything. And I think Pete is safe. But going down this list, I know the Titans game, I heard them chanting, fire their coach. I think
it's a little early to fire the Titans coach as well.
Yeah. I was looking at the stats. He's 3-17 as the head coach. I still think it's early. We got the first pick at quarterback, and there was times that he was slinging it, but there is a lot to clean up in Tennessee. I just don't think the coach is up first to get fired out of this list.
I would have to say Dable. I think the Giants are
right.
so frustrated. And again, when you look at what they have on the field, they have every piece you would need to at least be a contending team in the NFL. And now with Cam Scatterbo actually looking like Cam Scatterbo.
With Tracy out.
Yeah, and Tracy out, I think that they're going to be fine in the run game as well. So really, I think
you think they hold off on Dart?
I don't think so. I think you're right. We'll see him sooner rather than later, but I don't know. I was sitting there watching the game last night wondering, will we ever see Dable running an offense where Jackson Dart is the quarterback? Will we ever see that? Because essentially that's what you drafted Jackson to come in to be, is to be Dable's quarterback. But are we ever going to see it? Are we going to are the Giants going to allow this to happen, have another bad year just to sit around and wait for Jackson Dart to be ready to play? Personally, what we saw in the preseason might be a good indicator that he's ready. I don't think so. I don't count for preseason play as really good indicators of what you'd see in the regular season.
It's just like joint practices. But I looking at the schedule, I think they might hold off another week because the Chargers are coming to New York this week. I think they'll probably throw in Russ for another week, and then they play the Saints in New Orleans. So that might better be for at least the health of Jackson Dart.
Yeah, I think the Saints are a safer pick to actually go up against for a young quarterback too. But again, it depends on how long Dable wants to hold on to his job, because I genuinely believe the two are connected at this point. Because if they go 0-4, 0-5, let's say the Saints somehow beat the Giants in week 5 and they go 0-5, you don't think Brian Dable is going to get fired after that? And we'll never see Brian Dable and Jackson Dart together. We're going to just see
That might
them
be the
waiting.
smartest.
Honestly, it might, but we'll see.
But we're talking about the Giants.
Exactly. And honestly, the Giants are much like the Miami Dolphins right now, in my opinion. If you're going to fire one, you got to fire the other. Get rid of the GM too.
Yes, please.
You have to at this point. Again.
And I think Miami, I think he's safe if they can beat the Jets this week.
Right.
I think if they go out and lay an egg and look like what we saw in week 1 against the Colts, I think they're all gone.
Is Tyrod Taylor the starting quarterback this week?
They haven't said yet,
they haven't
but
said?
I know he's still
Which one would you rather see though? Because Tyrod looked solid too.
And Tyrod's ripped us apart in the past. So
I know. I mean, it's a weird spot to be in if you're Miami, but it's also a very weird spot if you're the Giants. I think both, though, if you move on from the head coach, I think the GM is they were right behind him. I genuinely believe so.
I think they should have fired him this week, but
well, again, you had a long week to figure it out too, but I think they are going to give McDaniels the benefit of the doubt.
Let him run the rest of the season and put a plan together.
Well, I mean,
I could see that too.
He didn't exactly play call you guys out of the game on Thursday, right?
No.
Like, he made the right calls, just the players didn't necessarily play to the potential.
I think it's just that bad taste in our mouth from week 1.
Fair. Absolutely.
But to go back to your question, I mean, are the Colts the real deal?
I mean, yeah, that's the other question. 3-0 now, and the Colts dismantled the Tennessee Titans. Not to anybody's real surprise, mind you, but looking at what they have going forward compared to the two competitors, and again, the Houston Texans now 0-3 after losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars over the weekend. The Jags 2-1. The Colts have at LA Rams. Then they played the Vegas Raiders at home, the Arizona Cardinals at home, and then they head back to SoFi to play the Chargers in the next 4 weeks. They could potentially win 2 out of those 4, be 5-2 here 7 weeks through the season. I think that's a pretty dang good start for the Indianapolis Colts, for a team that we didn't think was going to be real at all. But again, if you see Daniel Jones go 5-2, and you see Saquon Barkley essentially go possibly 6-1, 7-0 with the Philadelphia Eagles, yeah, I'd be booting Dable and that GM right out the door in New York. I genuinely would. And I think the media would be the first one with pitchforks and torches to get them out of the city. We got to take a break real quick, pay some bills. We'll get to more stuff on the other side of this break. There's plenty of NCAA football to talk about, as well as the Oklahoma Sooners barely made it away from the Auburn Tigers over the weekend. We'll let you know what happened there. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the early bird special right here on 101.1 FM, 12:30 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I was stuck in here on Saturday running the BC game, an unfortunate loss for the BC Renegades. We'll talk to our guys, Kenny and Rob Chavez, on Wednesday about all that what happened there. Our guys,
Tomorrow.
Wednesday.
Is
Today's
it Wednesday?
Monday.
Damn, I'm all
I know
jacked
our
up.
days are all messed up because we had a short week last week, and obviously, actually, last 2 weeks in a row.
I spent all Saturday packing up the Moneywise studio.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. And well, no, that's not necessarily true.
Don't even.
How did Sugar Ray go?
Sugar Ray, it was a big show.
Yeah, I saw
So
that.
many
It was
people
packed.
there, man. It was
packed.
jam packed.
I did not. For those of you who don't know or are watching out of state, we have our Kern County Fair going here in Bakersfield right now, and Sugar Ray was one of the musical talents that came down and performed for everybody, and it was a packed show. I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect that many people there. I expected a good amount, but this was clearly, I think, the pull of the week. I genuinely think so. Sugar Ray was, and our very own Sparky got to introduce him. Throw out some T-shirts.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't an enjoyable
My
time?
throat is still jacked up. I don't know if it was the fish last night or breathing in all that that air that we get in here in Kern County.
Yeah, it's a combination.
But
of
it's
both.
the last week of the Kern County Fair, and hopefully we get some better weather afterwards. It was hot yesterday.
Yeah, it was.
I took my mom out to lunch out there yesterday, and it was hot. It was stinking hot. But before we get in, let's just get into college football. I was gonna say, what'd you think about the Browns Packers game? But
we can get into that, but I have some questions for our guy Tyson Hayes that can
I
bounce
figured
off of
Tyson
that
would be
one as
better with
well,
that one.
because I genuinely believe I might be doing a 5-minute set here at the end of the year. For those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, listen to our interview with Tyson Hayes and you'll learn all about it. But there was plenty to talk about in the world of college ball on Saturday outside of our own Bakersfield Renegades here. The Hoosiers of Indiana blew out the number 9 Illinois Fighting Illini. Holy Lord. And probably their worst loss in, well, technically it's only about 8 years, because Iowa blew them out 63-0 back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. But losing 63-10, I have not seen a top 10 team lose like that, regardless if it was a ranked opponent or not, in quite some time. This will knock the Illini down to probably about the 20s, I would think. I think if I looked last night and I looked correctly, I think they got dropped down to 23 overall in the rankings now. And we'll be taking on a USC team, which is on fire right now, 4-0 headed into this game. Although, again, 4-0 against pretty skeptical teams, I understand. But regardless, still a lot to look forward to if you're a Trojan. Fight on. At this point, though, junior quarterback for the Indiana Hoosiers, Fernando Mendoza. Yeah, Mendoza. I'm sorry, I can't read my writing. 21 of 23 with 5 touchdowns in this game. Dismantled Illinois. I could not believe what I was watching. In fact, it was so bad I had to change the channel. It was one of those moments where it seemed like just watching a boxer just brutally beat down on his opponent, and it got uncomfortable after a while. So hopefully the Fighting Illini are going to be able to bounce back, have a solid game against the USC Trojans, although not beat the USC Trojans. Let's not get crazy. But the first major test for the USC Trojans coming up this weekend will be the Fighting Illini before their major test going forward. And that the Illini will also have a handful of major games going forward in the Big Ten right after USC. So both teams will be able to fight, hopefully, their way back up into the playoff standing if they need to going forward in the season. Another game I had to highlight just because we talked about it with our guy Bolt Brady on Thursday of last week, was the Michigan Wolverines pulling out a nail biter against Dylan Raiola and the Nebraska Cornhuskers, 30-27. Fantastic game. If you missed it, if you missed it, you missed out. I don't know exactly what to tell you, but it was a duel between the two quarterbacks of Underwood and Raiola, two completely conflicting styles of play. Michigan was able to win off 3 huge runs, a 75-yard run, a 56-yard run, and a 34-yard run by the quarterback, Bryce Underwood. All 3 of those were fantastic plays going forward, though I would say that the Nebraska Cornhuskers have done enough to at least warrant people being afraid of them. I know they struggle to get into those top 25 moments, But watching this team every single week is so much fun. I mean, you heard it from Bolt Brady on Thursday. The fan base just carries. And in college ball, when that happens, it's always an entertaining game to watch. The fan bases are what make college football, and there are none more impressive than the Cornhuskers. I promise you that right now. And the final game we got to talk about, I already teased it before the break. Oklahoma Sooners, the number 11 team in the nation, barely escaping the Auburn Tigers, who were 22 in the nation, probably will drop out of the top 25 after this loss. But they were able to sack former quarterback of the Sooners, Jackson Arnold, who now plays for the Auburn Tigers, left after a very, very rough 2024 season with the Oklahoma Sooners, hoping to reignite his NFL hopes and dreams here with the Auburn Tigers. And honestly, he didn't look terrible, 220 yards, and he kept them within striking distance this entire game. But the Oklahoma Sooners were able to pull it off at the end with a beautiful run by their own, Mateer, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. I know I was going to mispronounce it when I was on the show today, as I normally do. But the Oklahoma Sooners now jumping up to number 7 in the nation, 4-0, headed into a tough stretch here going forward. It's going to be a great stretch of football here for the NCAA. Hope you'll listen to it right here on ESPN Bakersfield or on all ESPN platforms on Saturday, including the big noon kickoff and all that type of good stuff. We got to take a break and bring in our 2 guests of the day, starting with comedian Tyson Hayes. He's going to jump in here, talk about his open mic nights at Firehouse, as well as the LA Chargers, as I may have made the dumbest bet of my life. And you know what? Maybe my comedy career will kickstart from all of this. Who knows? We'll let you know about that here on the other side of the break. And then after that, we're talking to Luke Robitaille, the president of the LA Kings, talking about their exhibition game coming right here to Bakersfield this Saturday. Tickets are available on AXS and various other ticketing platforms. Go check it out. Buy your tickets now before they sell out. This is the Early Bird Special. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special, Hour 2 here on this Monday, 22nd day of September. Thank you for joining us. You can also join us live video-wise on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch every single day from 7 to 9. Just look for the Early Bird Special, like, subscribe, hit that bell in the corner, all that good stuff, and you'll get notified anytime we go live. But we have our first guest the day, the very funny comedian everybody knows here locally, Mr. Tyson Hayes.
Hey, how's it going,
Sir,
you guys?
how are you?
They're very funny. You guys are too much. You guys are great.
Oh, I try.
I would hope
do
so.
it, yeah. I mean,
you are a comedian.
I know. If you're not funny as a comedian,
Well,
we have some questions.
Well,
He also runs an open mic every Monday night over at Firehouse. And if I can get out this evening, I would love to go. I stayed away from the fair food just because I didn't bring any money. So that was the
that's
first
the smart
thing.
thing to do.
But second of all, I wanted to get out this week and cheat on my diet this week. And I haven't gone to Firehouse yet for the open mic, so I'd like to check it out. So if anyone hasn't heard already, Tyson runs this open mic every Monday. Firehouse on, was it Coffee?
yeah, it's on Callaway and
Callaway.
Rosedale. It's more
Always mix those
it's more
damn
got a
streets.
Callaway.
I do too.
It's got a Callaway address.
So what's the time? How do we get in?
Yeah, man, it's at 7 p.m. I urge you guys to get there on time because from once the show starts until it ends, you never know what's going to happen. So if you miss the first 10 minutes, there could be a storyline that started then that we continue throughout the whole
You're just
night.
gonna be missing
comment,
out.
Yeah. So we come through, check out the whole thing. It starts at 7, and some people don't know that there's like an upstairs mezzanine at the Firehouse Rosedale station. And it looks like it's for private exclusive events. And this is just that, but you guys are all welcome. It's free. So come on, head upstairs. And then you got a bartender and a bar up there. She'll do all the ups and downs of the stairs for you. And it's $11 burger night. Any burger that they have there, burger and fries. Come on, $11.
That's a
It's
great
like an
deal.
in and out, but you get a free comedy show and a restaurant.
I can afford that with the radio money.
That's what I'm saying, man.
That's right.
Now, just out of curiosity, have you done this during the fair? Is this the first time you guys are doing this during the fair? Because I know the fair can kind of dwindle people's attendances just because everybody's so focused on going to that.
Absolutely. That's true. You know, I remember at the Well for several years in a row, it was always the fair when the fair came, things got a little slow, but you know, it just makes for a different experience. If we've got a smaller tight crowd, we're all going to get to know each other in there. We're all going to have fun by the time we leave. We're all Instagram friends, and we expect to see you guys next Monday because we got so close just for that small amount of time. So even if it is
might be the best time to go.
brother, it is. It's actually a fun time. So I mean, I urge you guys to come out, even if it is going to be light due to the fair. It's only been building and picking up. So get on the ground floor.
That's
be a part
awesome.
of it while it's early.
And before we get away from the comedy thing, so one of my bucket lists for decade plus is to go down to the Comedy Store. And I follow you on Instagram, so I saw the videos.
Yeah.
But just, you know, if somebody that hasn't been able to go to the Comedy Store, can you explain, you know, I mean, the history of the Comedy Store? That's my number one thing. Is one, I want to go on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday when you don't know what you're going to get. And I've heard from other comedians that that's really the best time to go because you never know who's going to show up. But just the experience, man, just being in that historical building. I mean, just as a comedian, I'm sure it's probably not your first time, but I saw the nice seats that you had and chilling with the Comedy Store. But just, I mean, for a comedy fan like me, what am I missing out on?
To everything, to be honest. You just said to explain a little bit about the Comedy Store. I don't think we have enough time,
right?
To be honest, there's so much that goes into it. Like just me walking up to that place, I feel like I'm walking into some kind of portal. Like I go in and then the time goes by so fast. You start seeing guys that you grew up watching on Saturday Night Live just walking down the halls past you, brushing shoulders. And I try not to fanboy out, and I'm like, oh, Jessica, like, oh my God, did you see who that was? That was, you know, David Spade that just walked by us. And it's kind of, it's a weird feeling once you walk in there, but you guys are all people and everybody's just wanting to have a good time. And that's all you do. You go there and you just kind of hang out, and you're not supposed to react when you see a guy that just sold out Madison Square Garden 7 times last weekend and he's just walking by you and you're just like, oh, wow, that's a, you know, whoever it might be. And I can't even just name one person off because there's going to be a handful. There's going to be a handful, and they're all going to go up in the main room and half of them in the original room or in the belly room because they have 3 rooms, right?
Yeah.
And there's always going to be something amazing going on there. There's so much history. Like we said, I like last time I was there, I went and rubbed the wall where Sam Kinison had fired off a live round into the wall at Dice Clay. There's like some history that some people don't. So I was just like, it was patched up and stuff, but there's just some things that so much has gone on there.
Yeah. I mean, that's what got me to watch, you know, stand-up comedy is, you know, growing up, I used to take my dad's VHS recorded tapes, and I'd see like the Rodney Dangerfield specials and just so much history in there. So I'll get down there sooner or later.
We'll go
and
together.
I know, speaking of fanboys, our guy Burdick over here got to ask some questions. He was in Vegas. He got the media pass. He got to walk around.
Add me to the fanboy list.
No, I'm just saying he manned up. He didn't.
Yes.
I would have probably been a little shaky, like, oh snap!
Not my first rodeo.
Being a sports
I've been
fan.
at press conferences before.
I was talking to JR yesterday or last night, and he was telling me like he got to walk into the Raiders locker room, and you could see his video. It was a little shaky. As a big Raider fan, he was like, dude, I was standing this close to Marshawn Lynch. And it's just cool stuff that, those are the small, cool things that we get out of this job.
Oh, 100%. And again, we will be down to the Raider games more frequently, but clearly I got to watch your Chargers beat up on the Raiders on Monday Night Football.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the question that I had to pose to you, because obviously we do have the bet going that if Dak Prescott does not do better than Justin Herbert statistically and team-wise, then I have to do a 5-minute, set. And don't get me wrong, completely planning on doing this. I'm not backing out whatsoever. Yeah. But your boy is silently having probably the best year out of all the quarterbacks, and this is the ideal year to do so.
Absolutely. We talked about it. You said, is Justin going to show up? It's that time. This is the year, it's getting old. And I was like, I don't know. I think he's always been good. It's just, hasn't kind of clicked for some reason.
Right.
Harbaugh's second year, his infamous second year we all know about, and that's when it's starting right now. So, do you want me to go to the stats or are we good?
No, okay. I already know. I was going
trust
me. I already know 860 yards, about 7-8 touchdowns, something like that. Yep, 1 interception.
6 touchdowns, 1 interception.
It's a fantastic start to the year. It's 3 weeks in, though. Let's calm down. And Dak Prescott's not exactly very far behind him. Okay. We're not sitting here saying that.
We'll see.
We will see. No, I'm not saying that the Cowboys are going to be anywhere near record-wise.
Record-wise.
As we have seen right now, the Cowboys are in dire straits.
I was getting nervous after CD Lamb left the game yesterday. I was like, oh,
this isn't going to be a good year for the Cowboys. However, your Chargers have, and I've already gotten grief for calling it Michigan football. I realize he was in San Francisco before, and he was also at Stanford before that. So technically it would be Stanford football or San Diego State football?
It wasn't San Diego State. It was
San Diego University. University of San Diego football.
Torres.
Regardless.
He's California football.
Yes. How are we feeling? Obviously, your team leading the AFC West right now.
Well, it started last week, if you don't recall. We started leading last. We've been in first place now 2 weeks.
2 weeks in a row.
It's week 3, and
you've beaten up on the you beat up on the Broncos.
Division, the whole division. I don't remember the last time we started off 1, 2, 3 like this. Well, we haven't started off 3-0 since like 2002. Didn't do a whole lot then. We had a season 14-2, 2006. That was Marty Schottenheimer year. LaDainian Tomlinson. Started out 2-1. So 3-0 is not common for us. Honestly, 0-2 is usually how we start. And then November and December, I think we have the record for the most consecutive 1 games. And so we're just great in the postseason. So we do a lot of nail biters. That's how we operate, on last minutes. I think I called it last time. We talked about Nate Kading being the best, most accurate kicker in the history of the NFL. Well, our kicker, the kicker, after he kicked a field goal this weekend, he became the most accurate kicker in the NFL. So I don't want to jinx anything, but we always have good kickers.
It must be
nice. Away from those stats because I always shoot myself in the foot when I say
out
it.
Loud there.
And my national PSA for the Falcons: fire the kicker right now. I'm sorry. No, Koo's already gone. They fired him. It's Romo now. I said fire that guy too. He lost 2 kicks already. Fire him. I don't care. We missed 2 in a row. We lost to Carolina 30-0.
That hurts so bad.
No, I don't think anybody knows this feeling. I didn't know this feeling until yesterday.
Welcome.
I knew it in week 1 when my Dolphins got smacked by the Colts.
Week 1, 2, or 3?
No, it was week 1.
Oh, that was week 1.
Luckily, the Colts have been a better team, so it wasn't just like a 1-week beatdown. The Colts are actually looking good as a 3-0 team, but I know all about nail biters. Well, we could have beat New England, we could have beat Buffalo, but now here we are, 0-3. So
again, it's the first 3 weeks of the season. Exactly. If we gave the MVP award out right now, Daniel Jones would be the MVP. So
or Herbert.
And
that's what I was going to say. Herbert's in the talk.
I was going to wear my jersey in here. I slept in it last night, buddy.
Jones is right behind him, 816 yards.
Yeah, no, he's close. 816 to 8.
With a worse team, technically.
Yeah.
I saw Najee Harris out for the season.
Yeah.
I don't think, he wasn't getting a lot lot of calls, but
No, but Amarian
Next man
Hampton
up.
owners are now
Yep.
ecstatic that the
Yeah.
rookie is going to get every touch. How do you feel about it? I mean, he's
I
had
s-
flashes of looking great.
I mentioned this. I think I think I brought this up too. It's another point that I feel like I predicted. Not only is Dak not going to show out against
Well,
Justin Herbert,
true.
we already had, and the kicker. I remember saying something about Amarian Hampton. I think that the RB1, which at the time we weren't sure, and then Najee got in, and
Mhm.
then he got an eye injury.
Yeah,
from the
the fireworks.
I
Situation.
mentioned, I said, if something happens, I don't want to wish anything bad on anybody, especially my team. And I just felt like Omarion's going to get an opportunity to step up,
Mhm.
whether it was going to be an off the field antic or something that happened or injury. I didn't want to say injury, but it's just kind of happening that way. Of course, you want number 22 in your backfield, but if Omarion Hampton gets the opportunity to step up and be that workhorse, I feel like it. I think he's doing it, and he showed last night. He can catch from the backfield.
Mhm.
He can get the snap.
Well,
get
and
the
he
ball 3
seems
times.
like that kind of a running back that you can just kind of rely on at any down. He's tough, but at the same time, he can break away. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily put him on the same level as some of the top 5 running backs, but he's definitely impressing me in his first year.
Mhm.
And with John Harbaugh as your coach, you're going to get plenty of touches.
Absolutely.
Plenty of touches. But let's shift to a different game, though, since it's Bakersfield based and we didn't get to talk about it. But this entire loss by Jordan Love and the Packers to the Browns, 13-10 yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you think that Jordan is now kind of we've already talked about Justin having that year, that breakout year potentially. Everybody was thinking the same thing from Jordan.
Yeah.
Do you think that these two could potentially be battling it out for an MVP award?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all know Love. We've been following him since his little kid here in Bakersfield, so we've kind of seen what he can do. And just, I think that when I talk about the Chargers, I'm going to say, hey, Justin Herbert's MVP right now because we're 3 games in. That's showing a lot. But when we talk about Jordan and he's not doing hey, give him. There's plenty of football left. Okay, so give him some grace. Maybe I'm biased because of that, but he's going to do just fine. There's going to be a little bit.
I didn't realize he was going up against the Browns are the number 1 defense in the league right now.
Is that so?
Yeah. I did not realize that until watching that game, but their front 7 has created the number 1 team defensively, which is why obviously the Packers had so much trouble scoring on them yesterday. And I say it's the front 7, but we forget about Denzel Ward and all these other guys in the secondary as well. But again, much like the Giants, the Browns could be just 1 quarterback away from actually being a team.
Yeah. When was the last time they said that?
I don't know.
Every year for the past.
Unfortunately, the Cleveland Browns are where quarterbacks go to die.
Right.
Yeah, I'll stay away from that topic. So,
right.
But
I don't know. We need to ask Anthony Howdige about his Packers, man.
I mean, again, he was telling us last time though that he was more of an Aaron Rodgers guy and more of like a general like new age Packer fan. So he might be okay. He might not be that shaken up about it.
Sure.
You haven't seen enough of the actual bad years of the Packers to actually be crying about it yet, right?
Well, it was like Micah said in the post conference. Every team, will have an off week and hopefully they'll clean it up. But there's plenty of talent left on that team, and we're 3 weeks in.
Yeah.
So I would say it's good to have it early, and maybe that'll come together and help them in the future.
I mean, it's entirely possible.
But I know they got away with that Josh Jacobs fumble towards the end.
100%.
That was definitely a fumble.
And uncharacteristic as well, because Josh usually does not fumble the ball at all. Or maybe it's just a testament to the Cleveland defense once again. I mean, again, holding the Packers to 10 points is something to really be proud about, especially when Jordan is doing so well, at least was in the first 2 weeks. Didn't allow him to have a touchdown this week. I unfortunately started him in my fantasy football league, but it is what it is. I don't know. I feel like these underdog quarterbacks like Justin Herbert, like Jordan Love, all these guys are going to start not superseding your Josh Allens and stuff like that, but we may have a brand new list of names to talk about here in the next 5-6 weeks when it comes to the MVP award.
Yeah, that's exciting, right? Everybody in the league's doing well like that. A lot of people turning up that were sleepers, maybe. That's exciting.
I mean, at this point, I'm not sure exactly how the Chargers are going to fare going forward for the future, because I mean, you guys do have a tough schedule coming up, including the Colts. I'm going to say it, dude, until I'm proven otherwise.
Right.
I know it doesn't sound right. It does not sound right. But you know what? At this point, the Colts are 3-0, and we all got to start respecting that. I'm just saying.
It'll take a while for me.
I know. It will for me too, because it's Daniel Jones. But at this point, are you afraid that any of these teams in the West can kind of start figuring it out and you guys potentially, have going the other way?
Yeah, no, not going the other way. Definitely not going the other way. I think that we're a team, a resilient team. And I was just thinking to myself, those teams that go 6, 7, 8 games undefeated, and then they take a couple L's in a row, I think it's tough in the locker room. But you get these guys like the Packers that are a good team and they get a loss early. And I feel like it's like, okay, we're not, maybe we got to pick it up a little bit more and they get better.
It's a wake-up call.
It's a wake-up call in a sense. And I think that you see it sometimes, and sometimes you see them go the other way. Chargers definitely not going that direction. Will they lose a game this season? I don't know.
I will
Look
say,
at how polarizing it is.
Before the season started, everyone's like, "Oh, it's the AFC West. It's the toughest division." And I kept shaking my head, and I still the Raiders.
Definitely one of
the Raiders show what they're a team that's growing. They're gonna have some growing pains this year. Denver is the most surprising one with me, losing 2 nail biters back to back, and I think the Chargers are. I mean, what can you ask for? Starting the season 3-0 against all division teams, especially when you had to start out in Brazil, and beat the AFC champs. So that's a hell of a way to start a season. So I'm behind you, and I think if the Chiefs don't wake up, and Denver, I will say Denver, I'm still surprised, but it's a long season. But I would be happy to be a 3-0 team right now, especially going 3-0 in the division.
Yeah. That knocks everybody else down 1. That's what it's amazing about that division play. It's the whole.
And honestly, 3 straight away games too, technically.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you count the Brazil game as an away game, because you obviously didn't play in SoFi, but
the Broncos too.
Yeah,
SoFi.
It's hard to say.
It's an away game.
Well, I mean, it's technically an away game. Yeah. I'm sorry, that stadium belongs to the Rams.
Does.
It does not belong to y'all. It's weird to say too, because every time I walk in there, you still see remnants of Chargers everywhere. Even if it's a Rams game.
Yeah.
But nobody ever respects that it's actually Charger Stadium.
Can't.
Regardless, back to the topic I was going to say. This entire thing, though, you're not worried at all about the injuries or, Khalil Mack being out long-term, all that type of stuff?
Just a couple more weeks, right? And then we get the captain of the defense back. And they've been he's holding it down. Henley, I think, is holding it down for them since. But, always when you lose someone like a Khalil Mack, are you kidding me? Like that's going to take a blow to your team. But then you stay on top and you beat what I thought was the best defense, the Broncos, right? At the time. I mean, Browns are coming out of nowhere. But yeah, that's to show out like that without some of your key players. I mean, that's just it just shows it's a show to our depth and maybe what we have in store for this season. Right now, 3-0. Who knows, man?
You can't beat that, man.
No,
16-0.
You're starting much better than the 2 of our teams. I can tell you that right now.
100%. Yeah. But we'll take our quick break real quick. We'll wrap up with Tyson. Pump up this open mic that's tonight out at Firehouse right here on the Early Bird Special, ESPN Bakersfield, 1230 a.m.
101.1 FM. I don't know why I'm a Rockhead, so every time I hear something like that, I think of Knights of Sidonia by Muse. That's it. But, and, though I love Harry Douglas, everybody knows this. I don't know if that problem is anymore.
Big shout out to our boy Dan. He said this is the best guest ever. Go Chargers.
Yeah, Dan.
He's big Chargers fan. They're all coming out now.
I know, really. I
Dan.
was like, after, like, I remember the first time he told me he was a Chargers fan. We both looked at it and said, wow, you're one of very few. I never hear you a Chargers fan.
They're all coming out now.
Everybody's coming out of the woodwork as a Charger fan now. It's
Yeah.
the wildest thing in the world. Apparently, nobody wants to be a Rams fan anymore. The bandwagon just kind of shifts.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the
yeah.
beauty of LA having two teams, right?
I guess.
And you guys don't even have to switch stadiums. You just have to switch jerseys. Look
Yeah.
at that.
Serious.
You just walk in on a different Sunday.
I miss Qualcomm.
You miss Qualcomm Stadium?
You're about the only one. I was
Yeah,
going to
I
say
like, I don't think there's a lot of
SoFi's
fans
so
that
much
miss
better.
that.
one of my
It's just
first
the location.
games. I went to a Dolphin Charger game and there was 0 Charger fans there. I
Mhm.
was like, wow.
Checks out.
No, dude, like when
Wow.
they moved, everybody was very upset with the franchise. And maybe this is just it. Maybe they've finally just kind of forgiven them and given up on the whole, like, all right, well, we left San Diego. We're not going back. So we're just going to have to live with it thing
Yeah.
at this point. Because, I mean, I think that was one of the main reasons a lot of the fan base just didn't want to at least claim to be a fan anymore because their team just up and left for no reason.
I was mad. I wrote a letter to Roger Goodell.
Did you really?
I'm pretty sure he read it too. Yeah, we were all supposed to do that at one time. It was either write a letter to Dean Spanos or Roger Goodell, and I'm like a equipment salesman. I'm like, you read my letter, you guys, you billionaires.
Roger just looks at it and says, I have to address this letter from a comedian in California.
That's what I was thinking.
Says,
I'm sure
F
he-
you for leaving my team in the
Yeah.
dust.
He's like, wait a minute, you guys. You know what? Let's put a hold on moving to LA really quick.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
Tyson
like,
has something to
clearly
say.
Tyson, this man from California, has something to say about this. So we
should
can't
stay.
do this.
There's already talks to Gus Edwards to work out with the Chargers this week.
Okay, yeah,
Might as well.
I see
I mean,
that happening.
Shifted over a little bit. He's the best backup running back I've seen in quite some time. But
Mhm.
I know the next guy up was Hassan Hankins, another Michigan guy.
Mhm.
What do you know?
Yeah,
again,
he's been doing.
if it works, if you know the system, that's the easiest way to get it just to flow for you in the pros.
Well, I am sure happy that I picked up Keenan Allen way late in my fantasy drafts because he's been money.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sure-handed receiver that's already had the chemistry with the quarterback. I mean, we talked about it before, obviously, before they signed him, that your guys' quarter or wide receiver room was skeptical.
Yeah.
You had believed in them a little bit more than everybody else, though.
Yeah.
Do you think now, if Keenan Allen wasn't there, do you think it would be the same kind of success?
He's just been so present in most of the play. Like when you're involved in plays like that, so often for example, it's 2020, right? We're coming down. It's a couple minutes left in the game last night.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there watching my girlfriend's reading. I'm just paying attention by myself. And then I see him scrambling and I'm getting taps on the side. And I'm like, wait, you're reading. We're looking at it together. And he throws a 20-something yard touchdown to Keenan. And it was almost a one-handed catch because there was a little bit of scuffleness going on there. But Keenan's he's a vet in the league. He knows how to squirm around, to finish those routes, to keep the plays alive. So he's a big part of the offense right now. And if it wasn't him, sure, it could have been a couple nameless receivers, but it's so much better when it's Keenan Allen coming back, showing out for the team he started with. It's just awesome to watch.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I got faith in the wide receivers for sure still.
And then real quick,
Quentin.
before we let you go, because we're running out of time, obviously we have open mics on Mondays, but do you have any
Yes.
other shows that you want to pump up? before
Okay,
we
yeah, still. So tonight, 7 p.m., come show out, or every Monday, you guys. But Thursday, the Comedy Chateau in Hollywood. I've got a show there. Me, also Nathaniel Webb, guy that's been on here before.
Yes,
Anthony
absolutely.
Howdigy's been here before. Trevor Chavez, my sound guy on Mondays, and Danny Castro, another up-and-coming comedian. So we're all doing the Comedy Chateau this Thursday.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, if you make it down to Hollywood, go check it out. Do you know where tickets can be bought, or do you have to buy them at
Follow
the door?
me, Tyson Hayes, on Instagram, and you guys can see the link there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it'll be a fun time if you can make it.
Cool. Well, thanks, brother. We appreciate
Yes.
your time as always. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks, and hopefully by that time, I'll at least have some sort of leeway to say Dak Prescott has saved me.
No, I think it's a 5-minute clinch. I think we're
yeah.
going to clinch 5 minutes here by the next time. I
3
see
weeks
you
in,
guys.
we'll talk about it at the end of the season.
Looking forward to it, buddy.
All right, man. We got to take a break, pay some bills. We got Luke Robitaille, the president of the LA Kings, on the other side of the break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Apologies on the streaming side. I know the cameras and stuff were being wonky for a second there. We were able to fix it. Hopefully you got the majority of the interview with Mr. Robitaille. I will be able to get the radio audio up on our YouTube channel here in the next day or so. So you'll be able to see the whole interview in its entirety at that point. But until then, you'll just have to wait for that. But it will be up within days, I promise. Let's wrap up the show, though, with some of the talking points that we didn't get to in terms of the NFL. We talked about it a little bit with our guy Tyson Hayes, but the Green Bay Packers falling to the Cleveland Browns. Again, surprisingly, number one defense in the NFL. Or I guess it shouldn't be surprising. Because, I mean, when it's led by Myles Garrett, Mason Graham, and a lot of these other guys in the front seven who have always been monsters, plus backed by some great corners and Denzel Ward. I mean, I'm sorry, led by Denzel Ward, I should say. It's not really far-fetched that the Cleveland Browns would be successful on the defensive side of the ball. Now, as successful as we saw on Sunday, I don't think anybody saw coming. But then again, are we overhyping this Packers team just because of a few weeks? Jordan Love, although historically, Packers quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl when they turn 27. And historically, quarterbacks tend to play better the year they got married, which just so happens to be this year for Jordan Love. Again, congratulations. So everything did kind of point that way for superstitious sports reporters and analysts to start speaking that way. And honestly, the first couple weeks of the season did kind of seem like it was going to head that way. Maybe week 3 is just one of those weeks. You wash it away. You ran into a juggernaut that no one really was expecting. And again, for the Cleveland Browns, you'll take a 13-10 win and run like a thief. Now 1-2 on the season, trying to claw your way back into some sort of relevancy in the AFC North against a Baltimore Ravens and a Pittsburgh Steelers team that both look formidable. And I guess the Cincinnati Bengals 3 months from now when Joe Burrow comes back. Because again, as I tried to warn all of you, Jake Browning ain't that guy.
No, I stayed the hell away from him.
Jake Browning ain't that guy. And neither is Carson Wentz, but I'm going to tell you right now, Kevin O'Connell is once again proving to everybody that he is the quarterback whisperer and will take anybody's career and revitalize it. Because he can take Carson Wentz and make him look like Carson Wentz when he was an Eagle. They're fine. They're good.
And that defense looked a lot better this week.
Yes, it did. And Brian Flores opened up the playbook a little bit more. We saw more of a Brian Flores-like defense of blitzes. So I think that the Minnesota Vikings are going to be fine. But looking at the opposite side of the track here, obviously, there's a lot of question marks around losing to a team like the Cleveland Browns, who are still trying to figure out their quarterback situation. Are you going to go with Dylan Gabriel when it's all said and done? Are we going to go with Shedeur Sanders? I don't know. Seems to me like the Cleveland Browns are okay with going with Dylan Gabriel first.
That's what it looks like.
And does that really bode well for Stefanski and this team? We're talking about Brian Daboll losing his job because of not putting the young quarterback out there first. What if Stefanski loses his job because he doesn't put the right young quarterback out there first? What are your thoughts on that?
Just looking at the schedule, I think we get one more week of Russ. And if I mean, the Chargers are playing hot, so it might be just smarter to put Russ in there, get out of that game, and then probably lean on Jackson Dart when they go to New Orleans the week after.
Right.
I think it's coming, but I just don't know. Depending on what team shows up this week, again, I mean, if they just get clobbered by the Chargers, I don't know if the ball makes it to that game, Game 5 in New Orleans. That's gonna be a tough one, and I still think Cleveland. I think that probably that game getting the win. I think Flacco will probably start another couple games depending on their record. I still think they'll lean on Dylan Gabriel first, but it'll probably be a short leash.
You think so?
What I'm hearing a lot out of Cleveland is they don't expect Shedeur to play at all this season.
And that's the thing.
Which is a head scratcher.
That is a head scratcher to me, especially if the Dylan Gabriel project doesn't work out for you. But we did say coming into the season, or at least I was saying or thinking that Joe Flacco maybe gets 4 to 6 weeks as the starting quarterback there in Cleveland, and then they move on to one of the young guns. Genuinely was thinking at the time it would have been Shedeur Sanders being the one you go to. But again, if they make this decision and they leave it on the head coach that, okay, you pick which one you think is ready, and he picks Dylan Gabriel, and Dylan Gabriel is clearly not the guy, are we talking about a head coaching vacancy in Cleveland now? Because at that point, you would start the season, at best, let's say 2 or 3-7 before we start thinking, okay, this ain't working. Clearly, the head coach might not be the right guy for the job either. Because if you think Cleveland is immune of that answer or of that questioning, you're wrong. Because there's a lot of organizations right now that are just frustrated. If you have the number 1 defense in football and that continues over a good, solid portion of the season, at least half of it, and your team isn't a winning team, as the general manager, as an owner, I'd have a lot of questions. Because if you're going to tell me that the Cleveland Browns could be a contender with this defense, but our offense is what's holding us back, I would make the necessary moves, especially since your head coach claims to be an offensive-minded head coach. I don't know. That's just kind of my thought process on the entire thing. Last game we got to talk about real quick. Ben Johnson and his Bears getting their first win under the Johnson regime. DeAndre Swift finally looked good as a running back for Ben Johnson as well. And the Bears handled the Dallas Cowboys defense. Caleb Williams, 4 touchdowns in this game to 4 different receivers. Pretty on par with what you want from a Ben Johnson offense, wouldn't you say?
He looked a lot more comfortable, I'll say that.
I will say that as well. And to be honest, I don't know if it's just because the Bears are finally facing a team that they can handle. Because as we said with our guy Tyson Hayes, not sure how good the Cowboys are going to be this season. I think that the loss of Micah Parsons is really starting to show itself. Plus, once again, having both of your top corners dealing with injuries early in the season, not good signs. So if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, you're going to be leaning on that offense and hopefully scoring about 35 to 40 points a single game in order to actually, keep up with a lot of these teams. You couldn't do that against the somewhat formidable defense of the Bears. I still have my questions. The front 7 has its moments of looking great, but the secondary, especially when Johnson's not playing, it's kind of hard to say that they're actually worth it, or at least able to stop some of these higher grade receivers from burning them all the time. And when Caleb has to play from behind, I feel like it's a completely different game, at least for him. We've seen what he can do with a lead, and he usually can hold on to it. But when he plays from behind and has to be the hero and play hero ball, at least in the NFL, it hasn't worked yet. So he's got to find out a different version of hero ball. Do we got any text messages before we get out of here?
We do. The first one says, I'm up by 22 with Jake Bates left to play against the Lamar and Henry. Do you guys think I have any chance of winning?
Oh, you're up 22 against Lamar and Henry tonight against the Detroit Lions.
And you have a kicker.
God, it's hard to say because the jury's still out for me when it comes to this Detroit Lions team. If they can come out and beat Baltimore this week, I can say that Dan Campbell's the real deal, and we can at least motivate our team into some sort of relevancy. But we've seen what happens when you lose so many coaches, and the jury's still out for me. So, there's a possibility, although a very, very small one. There is a possibility.
Yeah, but really depends on what Detroit team we get tonight.
Mm-hmm.
The next one says, good morning, guys. I didn't know you were local until recently. I love the show. But always hearing about guys like Tua is injury prone. I'm a Bengals fan, and I'm starting to think Burrow is the injury prone guy.
No, that's the consensus going around the internet right now. Is Joe Burrow is kind of going the route of the Andrew Luck situation. Maybe they just aren't doing the right things to keep him upright and keep him not injured, obviously. But I wouldn't say that Joe Burrow is any more injury prone than Tua. I think they're probably the same. And Tua, unfortunately, the vast majority of his injuries are because of things that he does.
Yes.
He tries to make a play and he ends up getting himself put in those situations. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's the same.
Well, we only got a minute, but this one says, what'd you guys think of Wrestlepalooza? Me personally, it wasn't anything special.
I thought it was better than what we were hoping, to be honest with you, but I am going to reserve my full comments for tomorrow when we talk to our guy KG at 8:00.
Yeah.
I mean, again,
The last one says, how crazy would it be if the Fever win the ship without Caitlin?
Oh, it would be fantastic. But I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to run into a big wall if they have to face the Lynx or the Aces.
Well, they won last night in game 1.
Did they?
So we'll see.
I don't know. I mean, again, and Cunningham's not even playing either, right? She's hurt too.
Everyone's hurt.
So, we see. I don't know. Aaliyah Boston might be the answer. We'll see. We got to get out of here. I'm sorry. This is the end of the show. We got to get out of the way for the great Rich Eisen. Join us back here tomorrow, 7 to 9 a.m. as always. Sparky, let's get out of here.